The Olympics might be over, but the Paralympics is about to begin in the next 10 days or so. India's Paralympic athletes have always done better than the summer contingent. So this contingent, if you look at it, the mantra is Ab ki baar 25 baar. Now you will all be wondering, in the 84 contingent, in the 84 list contingent, the largest ever that India is ever sending this time around, there are certain terms in there. For example, there is SL1, there is SL3, SL4. There is other classifications also like F64, F51, F57. What are these Paralympic classifications? Now I'll just give you a brief example of what are these classifications for, because if you look at it, the classification in Paralympics is based on certain principles. Paralympic classification is a functional classification system. Whatever function your hands or limbs they are able to do with a certain level of disparity, in which all athletes who compete in the same category are sure to have similar functional abilities in terms of movement, coordination and balance. So the classification depends upon the severity of the disparity, and it all depends upon these three things: movement, coordination and balance. So the further classification in that is, classifications are designed by a letter, typically the sports initials. For example, S for swimming, F for field athletics, SH is for shooting, all the other things, and a number. The lower the figure, the greater the impairment, but not always the case. It can be flexible also. So for example, if it's SH1, the impairment is higher. If it's SH4, the impairment is not that great also. It could change in the case of badminton, it could change in the case of table tennis, it could change in the case of shooting as well. So I'll just give you a basic glossary of what are the terms that certain Paralympians are afflicted with. For example, F64 and SH1. F64 is for field athletics. Field athletes with moderately affected movement in one or both lower legs or the absence of legs below the knee. So that comes under F64. SH1. SH1 is for shooting. Athletes able to hold their gun without difficulty and shoot from a standing or sitting position in a wheelchair or a chair. So that is the classification when you look at shooting. Shooting and field athletics, F is for field athletics, SH is for shooting. F53. Now field athletes who have movement affected to a high degree in the trunk and legs with hand grip affected at a lower level. As I said, lower the number, higher the disparity. So F53 is in that. SL3 or SL4. Now that is also for another sport wherein athletes competing standing with a lower limb impairment and balance problems, running in that particular instance. Those who struggle to run come under SL3 and SL4, lower the impairment at this point. T, if you look at it, F51 to F64. Now these are the classifications which are wheelchair events. Wheelchair events for athletes with a lower body impairment including paraplegia, that's one. Lower limb competing with prosthesis affected by limb deficiency and leg length difference. So people who compete with prosthetics and who have that leg impairment, they participate in T/F 51 to 64 categories. There are more numbers also, 46 also if memory serves me right. T63. Athletes with a single leg above the knee amputation who run with a prosthesis. T64. SU5 standing and upper limb impairments. SH6 shooting. All these kind of things. And T64, if you look at it, it can also include other sports also like table tennis for that matter. So athletes with single below the knee amputation who run with a prosthesis. It can even happen. T63, T64 is track and field. SH6 is for shooting. So basically when you look at it, these are the few broad classifications under which the Paralympians run. But they have had far more success. Tokyo, for example, 19 medals. Peak summer contingent never ever managed to come near 10. but this contingent has managed to reach 19 in 2020. You've got legends in there who have done well. Bhavinaben Patel, Avani Lekara, Sumit Antil, Mariyappan Thangavelu, there's also there. Then also you've got others who have done well in this sport. Avani Lekhara, for example, you can check out all the interviews that we have done on Sports Today. There's also Suhas Yatiraj who's done well. There's Sukant Kadam who's making his debut. And also if you look at Pramod Bhagat, who was the star but unfortunately has been suspended. So do follow Sports Today for all the latest from the Paralympics. That's going to begin from August 28th onwards. A rich medal haul might be expected this time around also.